Hey guys, this is Photoshooty who went 4-2 on the Format Library tournament for September 2011, and he's going to show you his deck and talk about the tournament a little bit. So here we go.
Yeah, I got unfortunately eliminated by Piper Chaos, but I will do a tournament report after showing you guys my build I played. So I played Chaos Agents because I thought the tournament was going to have a lot of X-Sabers or Rogue decks in general. So I think Chaos Agents is quite good against all those Rogue decks with cards like Christia or Herald of Orange Light. So that was my reason for playing the deck. So first we got the free tour guides. This is, by the way, the Chaos Agents deck, because it's by far the best agent deck. You could play the Gallows build, but the Gallows build loses a bit harder to maxi, but maybe I'm going to play that in the future. So tour guide, one of the best cards. I think everyone knows what it does. Then we play the agents, free Earths, free Venus. We want to have access as early as fast as possible in this deck. Then free Garnets and the one Jupiter. So I like the Jupiter a lot as a one-off. He's searchable and he gets over stuff like Thunder King, like Stardust Dragon, for example. So he could double. He gets over Bryanek and Liberian as well. Just
And Kaios.
yeah, and Kaios. Yeah, a lot of especially the plant deck plays Kaios. And then let's get to the boss monsters. I play a lot of boss monsters because I think that's the strength of the deck. So you are a bit more explosive with this deck than with a deck like plants, but you sometimes you lose against yourself, even if you build the deck a bit more optimal. So I play the three Hyperions. So this is kind of standard, and double Christia. This card is broken. Then of course BLS. I think this card is kind of decent in this format. I don't know, maybe I take it out.
It's a tech card.
Yeah, it's a tech card. So, and it's a Chaos variant, so I play this Sorcerer as well. He's also great for some Synchro plays, so you can drop him, banish something, and then go for like level 8. And of course, Honest. Tech card as well. Double Birdman, which is insane when you get combos with Venus. It's banished. Even when it gets banished, you can do some plays with Levier. Like it came up in the tournament where I bounced Sangan, which I summoned with Tour Guide, and just resummoned the Sangan, went into Orient Dragon, and banished the Stardust Dragon. Free Maxi, best hand trap of this format. I don't think I have to explain that. 2 Orange Lights. So this is one, the only slot which I would change in the main deck. So normally I don't like to draw a lot of multiple hand traps. Like drawing into double Veiler is so bad. But this card not only is a better effect Veiler, but it also is a monster removal, and it's and you can also drop it in damage step. You can negate a grave effect with it. You can negate Tragodia or Gorse with it.
Dark Worlds.
So yeah, if you play with Dark Worlds, you can negate Dark Worlds. That could be relevant. It's like an effect Veiler on steroids, and it also fills your grave. So people sometimes think discarding it with another fairy is a downside, but I think it's actually something which is very good for the deck, because you get your Christia out way faster, and also it makes you drawing Shine Ball a bit less bad. So even if you draw your vanilla monster, you can still discard it with Orange Light. I would play actually 3 in my next build, because card is just broken. I still see agent builds with Effect Veiler, but there's actually no reason to play Effect Veiler when you got your own Effect Veiler, which is just a million times better. Then of course Tragodia, which is especially good with Maxi, and Agents is a deck which has a lot of cards in hand, thanks to you starting with a lot of times. So Tragodia is very good. It's also dark for your K stuff. and Gauss as well. Yeah, that's a lot of monsters, spells. We just play 3 copies of MST and Heavy Storm just to get things out of the way. And also we play Monster Reborn. Dark Hole and Duality. This is something I would take out of the deck. So the entire reasoning behind it is that when you break, sometimes you can just play it as a consistency card as a one-off. But when a lot of the times you want to start with things like Tour Guide or Venus as well, so it still can't be that. And I don't know, it's just kind of a place filler card, so you can just play the Third Herald for it. So I should have listened to a play which actually won a Premier event. So yeah, shout out to Misdirecting. Then we play this as a single copy trap. It has this matchup where it's not that great like TG, but you can side it out against it, and it's just a million times better when you play it as a single copy trap instead of Trap Dust Shoot. Then let's get to the extra deck. 1 Trishula, 1 Stardust Dragon, 1 Scrap Dragon, 1 Black Rose, 1 Agent Fairy, Agent Sacred Wyvern, not Agent Fairy Dragon, which I never summoned in a tournament, and it's great for some more spicy OTKs. 1 Bryanek, and 1 Orient. I think this is by far the best level 6 beside Bryanek. 1 Dual Terminal Preview Catastor, 1 Hyper Librarian, which is just way better than Magical Android in every way. 1 Armory Arm, never did any BLS OTKs with it, unfortunately. Then I played with 1 Leviathan, 1 Levier, and I ran double Gachi for the tournament, but I think it's kinda unnecessary to play the second Gachi in like the 50 matches I had with Agents. I never summoned the second one, so I would just take this out and play Thought Ruler as a third level 8 option. So then, now let's get to the side deck. Alright. We got Double Thunder King. This was just for going first. I don't like it in the main deck that much because I run only the single copy trap, and I think Thunder King is a bit more effective if you run a build with more traps. So when I know that I go second, I can just side into a bit more high impact traps and just drop Thunder King first turn. Otherwise, if you go second, it's kind of not that great. I actually sided this only once in a tournament. I lost the game. And in theory, the card is great. This is the card which I should main deck, the Third Herald. I talked about this before. And then the card which every agent deck should side deck, which is Forbidden Lands, because everyone sides Leeching the Light. And this card just counters the biggest side deck card against agents. And it's not only against Leeching the Light, you side it also when you go second against any kind of back row deck, so you can at least protect your monster from a bottomless trap hole, for example. Or what is also very important is when your opponent plays like a Scrap or a TG deck with Horn of the Phantom Beast, you can just use this in damage step and completely wreck them.
Yeah, also against the TG swap.
So. Yeah, against the TG swap as well, so yeah, it's against the back row decks, and even in matchups where you know they're gonna side Leeching the Light, you could still protect your monster from a torrential, or even I had this situation in where I played against Plants in a tournament, and he went into Stardust and Scrap Dragon and attacked my Trishula with Scrap Dragon. I flipped lands, and then the board situation was that I had plays. And Trishula was still on the field, so I could just run over the starter. So Lance was basically game for him.
Also, like if they go Thunder King in the Plant matchup, you can potentially just summon Venus and attack over it, and then main phase 2 make Archie.
Yeah, you can still do that
So-
in... Yeah, potentially you could do that as well. So you get a lot of use for this card. I think it's probably the most versatile side deck card, at least.
For sure.
Then I play 2 Leeching the Lights, mainly for the mirror match. But in the mirror, I had 1 mirror match in the tournament where I didn't draw this card. Then later in the tournament, I played against the Lightsworn deck and OTK'd him with Leeching the Light. So that this card alone is the reason why Lightsworn is just a terrible deck in this format. Because not only is this just the worst Asian deck basically, because you still have kind of the explosive deck and a deck that wins by mainly dropping boss monsters. But also this one is suffering a lot thanks to all those Asian side deck cards. I mean, if you can't finish and you get leeching
splash
on
damage,
Judgment Dragon or Blacklisted Soldier, you get just completely obliterated. And we cite a couple of traps. First, 2 copies of Royal Decree. I have to proxy this one because I'm fucking poor.
For sure, you're poor.
Yeah. Anyway, Decree is for all those trap matchups against it completely turns off the TG stun deck. So
Alter guys.
it would be, you could cite it against Alter guys because it's a trap deck. Yeah, it's basically when you go first, or even if you go second, this card is kind of decent against all those set 4 or 5 decks, I guess. Gladiator Beast as well. You got people play a lot of random stuff, so it could come off, but I play only 2 because drawing multiples is not that great. But I want to see it often enough. So I think 2 is kind of the best ratios. And then we play a couple of traps. First, the Dust Shoe, which I think is actually a great card in this deck because since your deck is very explosive, you get to finish your decks your games very fast, so you can take advantage of Dust Shoot. But I think it's just terrible as a single copy trap.
Yeah,
because taking advantage of you can also take advantage of Dust Shoe when you have other back row cards, because you can activate your bottomless trap house or your solemn warnings on the actual stuff which is going to devastate your opponent because you know which place he's got in hand. Then I play 1 Solemn Judgment, also in the side deck. 2 copies of Bottomless. I'm kind of not sure about this, since you lose a lot of life points and you don't play that much protection in the Ancient deck. If I should play Solemn Warning, because you tend to get a bit low when you play Solemn Warning, so this card is also, this card basically has the same plan as Solemn Warning, just to remove things like Thunder King Ryo. The problem is it doesn't deal with cards like Stardust Dragon or priority effects, so I'm still not sure about this. Both cards have their ups and downs, I guess. And then 2 copies of Dimension Prism, just versatile. Remove the card, gets rid of those things like Stardust as well, and also deals with floater-like cards. Sangan is a lot on the field thanks to Tour Guide.
Yeah.
And it's again against those random matchups. They're great. It's also a great card against the TG, so I should mention it. Bottomless is a bit better in my opinion against all the TG monsters, so it really depends what you expect in the tournament. So yeah, also against Sabers both are fine, but I think Hyundai is against Hyundai, for example, Warning is a bit better. So I'm still not sure about those 2 slots. And if I'm going to main deck the Third Herald, I would just exchange this. I would get a 15 side deck slot, and I would just play 1 random DD Crow.
Yeah.
So this was the deck profile. I'm still kind of satisfied with the build. I think I had some unfortunate games, at least against the Dragon matchup in round 1. Especially facing off against Korkameo Draco, which completely turned off my plays. So yeah, and against the Piper Chaos where I bricked a lot with the deck. But that's the thing about agents. You get explosiveness, but you also get the chance to draw multiple shine boards, for example. So yeah, I got so I think that's sometimes a thing that can happen. So maybe I would play the deck again in the future tournament just with those changes. Otherwise, I think the deck is fine. I think the build is fine. So
Alright.
yeah, I still think it was a good result.
Fair enough.
So
So that was Photo Shorty with his agent deck.
yeah, thank you very much.